Hello everyone, my name is Notepad Add-on and I write games for fun. So what are we doing today? Well, today we're going to be working on a Void Haunter some more. Yeah, this is going to be one of those games. I can already tell you this much. It's going to be one of those games. So, did some things in between. Patched up some of this. I believe I went over this last time. Just patched up some wording. I added some new images just to kind of round things out. Now, one of the big things I did was add in this little note right here for ship aesthetics, kind of saying like the hulls you have are not necessarily what they're going to look like. This is more about kind of like what they are and kind of how they operate. That's kind of the gist. That's kind of the idea. And then I also did the entirety of the soft system section. Why I did the entirety of the soft system section can roughly be described as because I got bored. Oh, I also did some more lore, as you can probably tell by this giant document of me saying, here's all the lore. But we put this right here. But yeah, this is the kind of a basic rundown of what a ship might look like, kind of giving you, I want to give a good idea of like how they function, but our soft systems are pretty simple. These are innate qualities of the ship that are predetermined by the hull, but still play an important part of how the ship functions. One of these is your engine. Your engine power dictates how fast you're going to be moving. However, it also determines your ECM resistance. So pretty much the stronger your engine, maybe not exactly the stronger your ECM resistance, which is pretty much your ability to mitigate pretty much EMP damage. That's how I'm going to be justifying it, is you might take damage, for example, that doesn't do any strict damage, but it just inflicts ECM on you. Pretty much it's your electronic damage on you. Which if you take too much damage, your engine's going to shut down. Yeah, like you're just going to be floating in void. Which brings to sensors. Sensors are pretty much just going to be a singular rating, i.e. something rated from 0 to 6, 0 to 7 that is. Which you're going to be making checks depending on if you want to spot something. If you want to spot something that's kind of difficult to find, you might be only rolling 3 dice. You're going to roll and be like, okay, I scored 1 success. We found it, but not very well. Higher success, more successes mean more detailed look at things. The final section is actually called just the Forge. The Forge is more of a justification on how things are actually going to be working. The idea being that the Forge is a standard 3D printing machine, primarily for ammunition and supplies while aboard the ship. If it's ever taken offline by power failure, then you can't fire any of your kinetic weapons or repair the ship. Which is kind of bad. Let's see. Yeah, hello Manly, hello Ethical Explosives, hello Solid. Yeah. Oh yeah, second guessing mechanics. Yeah, I know that feel. But yeah, no, that's one of the big things. I also put it in the most basic concept of how we're going to be doing this, which led to the initial Feelshin Corvette. Yes, this is the Feelshin Corvette. Not exactly the prettiest thing in the world, but she'll work. Now, today's goal was to see how many ships and how many hulls and stuff I could actually make all at once. That's kind of the main thing here today. I want to get some of the basic hulls in and then some of the initial modules and how crew works. Now, however, because life is never simple and life is complicated and hard and I don't get to have nice things, I've run into somewhat of a conundrum. And that conundrum is actually related to this image. Now, one of the big things of what I wanted to do always is have directional damage. Nope, that's the wrong thing to do. Dad, what are you doing? I wanted to have directional damage. Now, what this normally means is kind of like a targeting. So it'd be like, if you're taking frontal damage, that's one way, but if you take, back damage, that's another thing. Kind of along the idea being that if you get completely annihilated up front, you might be able to at least have something in your back, but your back might have some damage there. You kind of look at our little ship right here, a little 4x4 ship. I might take damage, for example, really badly up here. I might want to spin around and start taking damage to this section. So it's kind of the idea of encouraging people to kind of distribute damage. You know, kind of trying to position yourself in the ideal position. Now, how I've been doing this is actually like this. And for larger ships, it would be something more like this. Now, if you are paying attention, you might realize that there's something slightly amiss. And that can vary, oh, Jesus Christ. No. Where looking at this, it's like, okay, well, you know, what's the issue? What about energy weapons? Energy weapons are their own kind of thing, which we're not going to think about energy weapons. Well, the big issue is that this isn't necessarily the front or anything like that, as you can kind of see up here. This is not the bow, starboard, port, or stern. This is instead, it's how is it worded? Off port bow. You know, it's off port bow, off port starboard, off stern. No, it's off stern starboard, off stern port. And then we have port and starboard. Kind of like how it's distributed is a little bit weird. So it's like, oh no. So it's like, okie dokie then. Like, this immediately gets a little bit more complicated. Because I have to make a decision. Do I want to maintain kind of the, how do I want to word this? Indirect modularity of even where you're going to be taking damage to kind of like this? Or do I want to start breaking up damage more into chunks like almost akin to this? Where you have the front, the middle, then the back. That's kind of the issue I've been running into, and especially when you hit smaller ships, such as the little corvettes like this. Where do you consider this to be the front? Do you consider this to be the back? Okay, simple enough. So what are these? Are these the front? Or like, if I get hit right here, like what's the, how do I want to distribute the damage properly? Very simple on paper, a little bit more complex when you end up taking damage, say, from this direction. Or if I take damage from, let's say, my corner here, I'm only getting hit in these locations. But if I go with kind of this squared method, it's like, am I taking damage here and also here? Or is it just here? And then it's like, how do you represent this? And then that's pretty much my no TF2 short circuit. The fuck are you on about? Yeah, no. What? Yeah, so it's kind of like, how do I want to break up damage? Again, the optimal path, you could say, the optimal solution is something more akin to this. Kind of like, here are the four corners and sections, so it's like, oh, I have a gun over here, a gun over here, a gun over here, a gun over here. And then for the larger ships, you can split it up a little bit more. It just gets a little bit wonky when you have the smaller ships like this, where it's like, do I just split it up differently, or like, do I just like make a dedicated effort and say like, here's port, here's starboard, here's bow, here's stern, and then kind of work with it, like stern integrity in various different areas. It's like, oh. Yeah, I know what the short circuit is. I've played TF2 for a while. I'm just wondering why it's being brought up in a game about fucking spaceships, but never mind. So yeah, that's kind of my query right now, and this isn't even dealing with what I would like to call my true nightmare in which you do more, I would say, esoteric hulls like this. What do you call this? This is my question. If you were presented with this hull, what would be stern, what would be not stern kind of thing? And it's then suddenly questions become a little bit more bizarre, because let's say, for example, you know, if we put this in here, for this particular ship, do you split it up like this? Or do you split it up more along the lines of like this or like this? Or do we just do some horrific abomination and don't keep to the lines? It's, here, give me one sec. I'm gonna doodle my face right now. This is me coughing up blood. Yeah, no, it's not fun, and I don't know how to do it. However, this method would actually be a lot easier to do the blocks. Kind of just block it out like this, unless I want to do like something like that, like block it out front, side, and that, but then it's a giant thing of nightmares and sadness. That's what I'm trying to get across. And I need to figure that out tonight. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. Generally speaking, everything is done up here, and this is the last, how do I want to word it? This is the last hump, really. Once we get past this hump, we're Gucci, actually. We're good. It's just getting past this. And yeah, that's it. If you got any comments, feel free to ask. Feel free to put your 2 cents in, because generally speaking, I am kind of winging it right now, because there really isn't anything to base this off of. I mean, let's see. Someone did link me. Uso did link me a game the other day. Maybe that'll be what I'm looking for. Maybe this will solve my problems. You know, solving all my issues. Because each side has a valid option for different sections, for different concepts. Because for the more, like, I'd say ergonomic designs, this is fine, but like the more esoteric you end up getting, which, mind you, this isn't even very esoteric, it becomes less and less valid in a way. So it's like, how do I want to do this? Like, what am I doing here? What's the answer? I don't know. And that's kind of my problem right now. That I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants here a little bit. It's one of those things where I'm trying to like have my cake and eat it too. Guys, let's. Oh, this isn't a good start. This isn't a very good start at all. This isn't what I want at all. Oh, Uso, you lied to me. Uso. Can players make a pixel art? Pretty much how I want to do it is like there's going to be set hulls. Like there are going to be a handful of set hulls that they can, and then you as the player can insert modules into. That's why it's like I need to make a decision now, but there's only so many variations of like square ship you can do before it's like usually anything long. I like the big issue currently is long ships. Which again, it sounds silly, but it's like, where do you, like, for this one, even like this ship right here, what do you consider the front, what do you consider the sides, and what do you consider the not front. Like, that there isn't really an answer there, and that's the issue. I feel like there is an answer, I just don't know what it is. Especially when you get, again, to some more of the esoteric designs, where it's like, oh, well, there just isn't really a good answer here. Like, there's just pain. There's no happiness. There is only pain. Pain pecco, as the hip kids say. Actually, what I should do. I'm trying to get this ship to look exactly the way I want it to. So we need to do top. Need to do there. We need to do top. Then we select this section. Then we do this. Then we select this section and do bottom. There we go. Ta-da! The front is where the cockpit should be, and where the thrusters are. Yeah. Is there an up and down in this game? Pretty much how I'm seeing it is, for example, we have this ship right here. On your character sheet, what there would literally be is like a section that looks kind of like this. There would effectively be a section for you to draw, you know, your ship out, and like this is what you would get. Like you'd get a smaller section, and anytime you're facing forward, like this is all you would see. Now that kind of brings into how how combat's kind of looking right now. Combat's a little bit confusing because there's currently 3 options for combat, because yes, this is a poorly thought out game. Either we do it this method, which is, for lack of a better word, free and open, which is as long as you can engage, like you're going to be able to move around on various sections all you want. So let's say, for example, we have a little, well, let's say we got a little convoy here of ships, and you choose to engage from this direction. It's pretty much, you get out a measuring stick and you'd be like, okay, I'm advancing this way, I'm advancing this, I want to go this way, and they start reacting. That's kind of the basic idea. Where how I picture this is more, the direction is more determined how you are, which I can borrow a little bit from Project Sidewinder, which is you can adjust 45 degrees or 90 degrees, more like it, in any direction. That means you get hit in your ass. You know, if you get hit in your ass, it's your fault. Option 2 is to get out a literal checkerboard. I use, I can do, I wonder if, is it going to let me do this? Let me see. Can I paste the sticky notes? Okay. Like, for example, we can use this as a very simple option. This is our. I change the color of it. No, I can't. But yeah, so let's say, for example, this is our little board, and we start here while the convoy is up here, and we can move along this particular grid to do things. So if we move 5, it'd be like we're going to move 1, 2, 3, and we're moving up, we're moving back and forth. The grid system's a little bit more simple. This one's a little bit more complex, but the grid, here's the thing. The grid allows far more ease of, like, saying you're getting attacked from the front, you're getting attacked from the back, you're getting attacked here, you're getting attacked there. The grid is a lot more easy to maneuver and a lot more simple to kind of like say, okay, we're going forward, we're taking a right, we're going forward a little bit more. So it's kind of a back and forth of how I want to do this. Because, fun fact, there isn't a right answer. There's a lot of maybes. Don't let it distract you from the fact that Pecora bought a fucking monkey. Yes, Pecora bought a fucking monkey, and that will never not be funny. So let's think, like, what am I referencing? What can I find? Because, fun fact, space combat in these games is actually relatively rare. Like the only kind of like space, let's do space combat like war games maybe. Maybe that's something. Like, is there something I can reference? There has to be something I can reference. Because this is pretty much what I'm working with when it comes to like tabletop design. This is one of the issues where it's like as a video game, this is pretty damn simple actually. Like, it really is simple because you have a visual representation of everything. So it's like Star Sector, for example. Let's use Star Sector for an example. Star Sector is actually completely top down, and you can do these little minute movements a lot simpler. You can maneuver around. You can kind of, jaunt yourself in different positions pretty simply. That's the entire idea. But you also have in that game things like momentum, and a combat might take 15 minutes, where on the table trying to do all of that, it would take like hours. So it's like, I don't want that necessarily. So it's like, okay, I gotta change it. What do I change it to? Then I'm like, okay, what, like Battlefleet Gothic? Battlefleet Gothic, that's like, arguably, Gothic is a little bit too janky, you could say, simply because this is a war game originally, and it's like, does it even have, I wonder if it doesn't even have sectional armor. Let's see, can I find rules? Let me see some good rules here. Official rules can be downloaded here. Not fleets, we just want just the basic rule book. Okay. Battlefleet Gothic. Shooting phase, firing arcs, firing lances, Nova cannons. Like, damn it. Let's just take damage. Taking that one. Damage. Note the number of hits it has taken on your fleet roster. Yeah, so it's not even based on, like, directional damage. It's just you've taken damage to these particular sections. Like, the ship itself has taken damage, therefore, that's just something you have to deal with. So that's not quite what I'm looking for, because again, you aren't going to be dealing with a lot of ships. That's one of the issues. You're only going to be dealing with a small amount of ships. Maybe even only one or two. So I need to make this satisfying. And it's like, it's hard to reference things when it comes to like first person games, because that's its own thing. Like, Sins doesn't have, like, what directional line? I'm making it so the engine is the reactor. That was like kind of a call. I'm like, I'll make it the... So I think you'd find 4 sectors from the middle of the ship, the reactor maybe. Then you can refer to each section as the section as forward propulsion of X. Yeah, but the problem is that I counter that by saying there's one very unique problem to that. How do you deal with a ship that looks like this? How do you deal with bigger ships? When you say, oh, well, it's just the center. Everything has to be defined from a center, for example. Okay, is this the front? Is this the front, then? Is this the side? Like, where? It's kind of like, where do we want to kind of move from there without bogging everything down? You know, that's the big thing. It still needs to be entertaining. That's why it's like, there has to be an answer. I just don't know where to look for it. And that's why we're streaming today, is finding that thing. Triplanetary. The first space war game. Fucking war game from 73. Pilot movement vector of each ship, movement, plotted course. There's one thing that luckily what I can do is actually make things relatively, how do I want to word this? You can make things relatively abstract, where on the table you're seeing it as, you know, just a dice or something like a D8. Actually, a D8 would be very good for this. I'm kind of saying facing forward, kind of to the left, like, okay, I'm being hit from the right or I'm being hit from the left. But it's more like, how do I want to do this? Like, there has to be an answer. I'm trying to think of what that answer would be, though. Yeah, so for directional damage, the idea would be, let's take our little ship over here, for example. Hello, the little ship that could. So our little ship that could. So let's say we're flying in. Let's say this is our stern, and this is our bow. Pretty much our front and our back. If I take damage from this direction, this section of the ship is getting hit, which means a lot more for like your internal modules, for example. So if I have like a module here, for example, and this entire section gets blown the fuck open, that module is out, which might, you know, start cascading problems. That's kind of the problem. It's like, okay, we need to, you know, take damage in this direction, and it's like, okay, this armor over here is now compromised. I want to spin around and start taking damage over here. Or I want to try to take damage to my back, even though that's maybe a little dangerous. So positioning matters, because one of the big things is, as a pirate, you have, it's one of the things, like the idea is like, kind of as a pirate, if I get this open, you have speed and firepower. You don't have survivability. That's one of the big things. Like a few big good hits and you're out of fucking commission. But you have the speed and you have the firepower. So it's more about maneuvering into the correct position and getting the hell out of Dodge the second something starts going wrong. Currently, like in my current idea is that it's kind of broken up into this angle with situations like larger ships having it broken down more like this of where you're getting hit, but it's like, how do we determine that? That's the issue. Let's make a circle divided into 4 with an X shape. Any part of the shape drawn that quadrant is in that quadrant. Yeah, it's one of those things where you get the larger ships. That stops working because they're not all going to be squares. Some of them are going to be, you know, things like this, for example, which are very large, or even just weird ships like this, because this is kind of what I want. Like, I want people to have people experience ships that are kind of weird looking, because it's fun to slot in things, you know. It's like, okay, I have to slot in a big ass module that's maybe that looks like, you know, that maybe I have to put in a module that looks like this. It's like, oh, well, shit, like where am I gonna put this kind of module? Like, well, I mean, if I can put it like right, you know, let's see, I can put it, like I put that right there, and if I put that right there, okay, cool, I can slot it into my ship a lot easier. Or maybe I want to try to flip it around or something. And it's like, okay, I've slotted that in very nicely to my ship, or maybe I want to try to, you know, put it on the other direction or do something like that. That's kind of one of the ideas where, mind you, these are just the little ships. The larger ships is what I'm a little bit concerned about, because if I was just doing this would be pretty simple. I could just break it down into 4s, but the problem is I need to have big ships, because that's what people are going to be wanting when you play a spaceship game. You want big ships that do big ship things. Is rolling twice as many dice as you keep on average in a roll and keep system obnoxious or reason. What? Is rolling twice as many dice as you keep on average in a roll. There's going to hit a point where it gets too much. Here's my usual rule is 7. Anytime you are forced to roll more than about 7 dice, it becomes a little bit it becomes a little bit more complicated. Like, let's say, for example, I got 8 dice in my hands right now. I'm going to have to roll all these. Suddenly, it's like, okay, I got to kind of pick through it. It takes that little extra second to think about things. Oh, ship is gigantic as my dick. Yeah, pretty much. It's, you know, I'm rolling a shit ton of dice. That can get a little bit issue. Easy to find the middle and cut. Let's see. Maybe just say that starting bow of the ship cannot go further than n, and like n equal 4. So 4 blocks deep is the maximum for smaller ships, of course. Easier to find the middle and cut. Bigger, yes, but you divide them in 3 parts. Thus growing that sweet fat middle section. Same for the ships with weird ships. Cut off the furthest blocks of the ship. Yeah, that was one thing I was thinking about. Like, some ships are pretty simple to do. It's just like, I looked at this one, I'm like, oh, fuck me. Like, like, what do you do? I mean, like, I guess, like, 2 blocks forward, 2 blocks? Like, this would be considered fully stern, this would be considered this. I mean, if we do something like maybe... Who's pinging me? Who's pinging me, and what do you people want? You would need a 5th sector that's structural. You would need a size sector based on reactor position. How little they know that the reactor is. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, what you posted there, Manly. Now, one thing I was thinking of. Now, this is gonna be autistic math time. So, if we do something along the lines like hull equal n, for example. So for corvettes, and for kind of like the corvettes, it's n equal 1. For a corvette, n equal 1. It would be frigates. Yeah, let's do n equal 2. Let's do, it would be corvette, frigate, destroyer, like n equal 2, and then light cruiser, we can do like n equal 3. So this is actually, no, what we'll do is b equal 1, b equal 2, b equal 3, b equal that. We do b, actually b slash s, b slash s, b slash s, b slash s. So bow and stern equal 1, bow and stern equal 2, bow and stern equal 2, bow and stern equal 3. Which leads to port and starboard damage sections, which would be section equal, so it would be corvette SI equal 1, frigate SI equal 1. If I'm trying to do this in my head correctly, SI equal 1. And then destroyer SI equal 2, light cruiser SI equal 2. If we're doing the math, if I'm doing my math correctly, because let's say, for example, let's say this is just a corvette side. Let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, we'll just say, let's put it right here, corvette. Yeah, welcome to Pad's Autism Power Round. Let's do corvette equal 8 to 10. No, that's too big. Corvette would have to equal side 2. That means frigate side 2, destroyer 3, light cruiser 3 then for sides. Let's say corvette's going to be about 8 to 10. Simple enough, right? Corvette's going to be 8 to 10 squares. So, for example, this one, SI, if we go up here, SI equal, B1. So this would be bow, this would be our bow. This would be our bow, and if we go down here, we would post, and this would be our stern, but then this would be our SI, our side. So if we go down here like this would be our current setup. So this would be our stern, this would be our bow, this would be our side, and if we break it down like this, then we split it right down the middle. For anything odd, so what do we do in this situation? Okay, new conundrum. Okay, new conundrum, we're going to solve it now. We solve this now, we won't have to think about it later. What do we do in this situation? When there's an odd number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, unless we still break it down the middle, the idea being like you're still going to get hit by your left or your right. And if you're getting hit dead on, you just choose. That could work. Not a great idea, but it's an idea, and it makes things a little bit simpler. But now let's build a court. Let's build, I don't need you too big. You're far too big. Okay, so if we treat corvettes as 8 to 10, that means frigates are going to be about, let's say 10 to 12. Let's say 10 to 12 spaces. The idea being that frigates and corvettes are very similar. The problem is corvettes are a little bit smaller. Let's make a middle section for left and right too. Yeah, it's just for bigger ships. What kinds of stuff my ship can have? Anything modules they'll let you put in. So let's say frigate 10 to 12. Let's just design a frigate here real fast. We can make it simple, but let's make it a little bit complex, okay? Let's try a complex ship out. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There we go. You know, it's a fucking ugly ass ship, but you want to know what? It's our ship. Just do this real fast. There we go. So again, now here's our ugly ass little ship. Here's our ass. I'm the ass man. Okay, we do that. We do that, then that. So here's our basic, frigate. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Cool. This is our frigate. Yep. Nope. Not exactly the prettiest thing in the world. So clearly we have. See, we're a little bit taller than before, but if we go to our little reference sheet here, frigate equals side equal 2. So both of these are going to be the same side. Both of these are the same side. It's just a little bit more awkward to create. So if we get hit from the left, that means we're pretty much getting hit from up this direction, or just our top section. So if we split it more like this, what's going to happen then is because that would then make the top look like this. So if you get hit from the front, you're taking all the damage effectively to your front, but if you get hit from the back, you can distribute it. It gets distributed a little bit better, but that's the point, because this is what the ship is going to look like. It's supposed to be defending its side. This is where your engine is. This gets taken out, your engine's gone. Okay. All right. Frigates working. Frigates are working. Destroyers. Destroyers, the first big leap. Frigates are about that size. We will make destroyers a bit bigger. We'll say 14 to 16 square. Again, we're doing kind of very incremental, but I just want to make sure everything's working. So let's just do, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 works. Yeah, we'll bump it up to 18. So we want to do something like this. This is our brand new ship. Congratulations, everybody. Hopefully you like the dong. Yes, do you like the donger? She's a very pretty ship. So, what's our bow say? Our bow is 2 spaces up, 2 space. So actually, change that. We have to change that to 1. Destroyer would be, so our bow would be, this is our front. However, our side equal 3. Our side equals 3, but that means our stern also equals 2, so we can do this more reliably. Okay, we split it down the middle then. So we split this down the middle. We do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That means we'd probably do something like this. It would be hello, get out of my head, please. Yeah, welcome to my schizophrenia. Have fun. Like I'm trying to plug the math correctly, but the math isn't working. Why won't the math work? Okay. So if we determine that, we're going to need to increase the size of destroyers. Frigates, we bump the space up. We then make destroyers 16 to 20. We just increase the raw size. So it's, let's see, 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 17. That's 17 squares. 17 squares is a bit low, so we can increase the size. But what would be the advantage versus a long ship versus a we go under the idea that a long ship has the advantage of doing this, for example. So if we break it down on the sides, okay, wait. I might be thinking, I might be having a brain blast, everybody. Have no fear. That or this, it's just a stroke, who knows. So, for example, let's just take this for right here, right now. I'm being attacked. I'm going to be getting hit in my left. I'm going to be get hit in my right. So I can distribute it to, I have to distribute it here. Top right. I'm getting attacked from top right. That means I'm taking damage down this direction. Okay, easy enough to understand. Taking damage from this direction. What the hell? Yeah, all right, we're the fuck? It's having a stroke. It's having a stroke. So let's say I'd taken damage from my right side over here. That means I would be able to distribute it to I'd be getting hit on my side. Ah, fuck. There's gotta be an answer. We got anything to work with? Fuck. Fuck. There's an answer. Don't know what it is. What are you? I'm gonna grab my note. Why aren't you working? Why does it feel like it's not working? What kinds of ships do you have in mind? I have kind of just anything that works. That's kind of the idea. Unfortunately, it was because what the goal was is that I get a good, nice of like little things set up, and then I can just do it. Then I can just, make endless ships because I'll have a formula down. Because with my little handy notebook here, because apparently I'm now Blues Clues. Remember Blues Clues? So let's. When you have an oblong ship, that's a little bit weird. When you have something even 3 squares, God help you if it's larger. Actually, it'd be easier if it's larger, but we need to solve the small ships first. So we have the 3x3. We have the 3x3 dick ship problem. This is going to be welcome to the nightmare. The dick ship, the dick ship fucking dilemma. Because how do you justify splitting it up into sectors, kind of like just different sections, based entirely around that, and where do you distribute it? Or you just say fuck it. If you just say fuck it and just say you have, if you get hit on the side, you're getting hit on the side. You're just taking damage. If we do it that way, it loses a lot of nuance, but it works. That's going to be, I'm going to say, that's going to be kind of the nuclear option. Yeah. That is going to be the nuclear option. Starship War. I don't want to do that. That's the thing. I'm not looking forward. I don't want to do, you're just taking damage and being reduced by like armor in certain sections. That's going to be kind of losing a little bit of the nuance I want to have. But I may need to make that as a compromise just to make sure this thing even works. Mass scale, space opera, entire fleets, basic units. No. No, that's too big. We need something smaller, something more personal. Small, personal, and squadron strike. Third Imperial needs all hands on deck. Raise shields. I wonder, does... fucking Star Trek game. Honestly, this might not be a terrible idea to even reference. If only because it's like, it's there. What's the answer? Unless we base it entirely off of the hex. Okay. New idea. we break it down to say like a hex, for example. If we break it down into a hex, what we have is you have the advantage of it being already kind of modular of where you're going to be end up getting hit. So if you're getting hit in a hex, you get hit in a hex, for example, we know exactly where you're going to get hit. You're going to hit in the back, you're going to hit the side, or whatever. Larger ships take up more hexes. So a large ass ship might take up like 2-3 hexes, for example. But a super large ship might be that. And that means if you're kind of hitting the sides, that means you're like guaranteed hitting the sides, not exactly just like the engines or whatever. And that also could determine where your guns are facing, but then the hard points get a little bit more complicated. Alright, I'll query all of you, all 5 of you here. Where do we compromise? That's the question. Where do we compromise? Because current system, I do not believe is going to work. The current idea in my noggin is not panning out. I've been here for 55 minutes and I've written nothing. Nothing has gotten done. But pretty much we are down to, I would say I would say there's 3 solutions. All of them are mutually exclusive, so there's no all of them at once. So there isn't really that option. One, we go hex based. We just put the entire thing on a goddamn grid, and it's pretty much, let me see, can I do, let's say, for example, we have our ship right here. We know this is just our ship. Let's say we can represent it by like a dice or something. This is our ship. We know we are facing this direction. However, if we get hit from, let's say there's an enemy ship here, and it's facing this direction, we know it can hit us with its front guns, and we're going to take damage to this part of our ship. We know we're going to take damage up here, because that is what the hex says. Advantage to this is that it's a lot more, I would say, simplified and streamlined. The issue is that we're going to then have to account for the hexes. That's just going to be a thing we're going to have to deal with. And when you get to larger ships, what's going to happen is, if I'm doing this correctly, what's going to happen is something more along the lines of this, and the game is going to have to be accounted for that. Like, how do you move this? Like, actually, I'm gonna lock this. But like, let's say, for example, oh, that's a terrible. Nope, go away. Let's say, for example, our ship is like a cruiser or something, and it's it's 3 hexes wide. How do we move this? That'll be the question. You know, like, how are we going to be really kind of maneuvering this around? This is the query. So this is option, this is one. We compromise, we do hex and simplicity. Hex and simplicity, in which we can, keep nuanced damage. That's the big one. 2, we do open and deadly, which is we keep nuanced movement, which is more along the idea we don't manage about that, and we keep this system kind of being able to maneuver where we want. However, we don't even worry about sectional damage. We don't matter about our guns at all, our location. Pretty much the only thing about our ship that matters are these module slots. We've slotted in this, we've slotted in this, we've slotted in this, and we lose a lot of the nuance in the nature of the ship, like how kind of the maintenance of the said ship. but we gain it in this. We compromise for combat. No. Final option is we abstract the whole. We do abstraction, and nuance, in which we keep nuance, sacrifice combat. Which the entire idea here is we do not worry about combat maps. We don't worry about any of this. We set it on like a fucking action map or something. If we set it on an action map, it's kind of like you're here, I'm here, and we're in this area, but we're located here, so I'm going to take damage over here, but I want to maneuver over here, so I'm being able to take damage all across here. The idea being that we're kind of sacrificing kind of more of the tactics behind things in exchange for just having you have a really detailed look at like how damage is done to your ship. It's more about where your guns are located, where everything is. It's a very much more tactical game. That's the compromise, though. That's the issue. We have 3 different things, and there really isn't a good option. Hexes are the simplest option. Here's the thing. Out of all of these, hexes is probably the most, like, standard one. We just have to drop a lot of the, like, I would say hard points are going to have to go in some ways. It's not going to be, like, located on, like, section. It's going to be, like, these are in your front, these are in your back, these are on your, like, this is on your left side, this is on your right side. That's going to be kind of where the compromise is. So, engagements will also probably be a lot smaller on that one, but that might be beneficial. How do we move this? Yeah. X, open, abstraction. Simplicity, deadliness, nuance. I don't know. Yeah, hexes would make things like hexes would make damage go by a lot smoother, and I would be able to more easily, I would say, dictate, if that makes sense. Like dictate, like this is what, like if you are attacking from this angle, I know exactly, you know, I know exactly what you're doing if you're attacking from this angle, or this angle. But if you're attacking from, I would say it gets a little bit more complicated when you start attacking from things like this, but I would just say it's the side. Like, here are all your head areas, here's all your stern areas, fuck you. Okay, you know what? I would say for larger, more awkward ships. How do you do larger, more awkward ships, though? That's the question. That's where things get a little bit wonkier. Because how do you do bigger ships that are maybe wide instead of... How do you do a wide ship versus a... necessarily a long ship? You just do something like this. You're just taking up multiple spaces, even though things might look ridiculous and not like what your ship looks like. Is just like, yeah, here you go. As for the abstraction combat, it would literally be more along the lines of like you're looking at a radar screen. The idea would be, let's say this is like our little action map. I'd probably split it down into like maybe like 4x4, with the idea being like I am here, you're here, I can shoot my guns this direction. So it's not a good idea, but it's there. Yeah, it's not necessarily hard to maneuver. It's, how do I want to word this? Awkwardness in like actually like writing them out. Because like, if I have a thick ship like this, let's say this is a big ass square ship, how do you draw a square ship on this? Do you just like draw that, but that's like a weird triangle now? Or do you just say like this? But then that's not quite like, or do you just kind of like awkwardly like doodle shit together? That's one of the disadvantage of hexes, unless I go for like squares. But if I go for like squares, for example, like if we do that with the idea being like this is the front, then you could attack from here, here, and here, and here. We've doubled effectively our available attack vectors. But that's okay, right? Yeah, it's the thing is with this, we're not going with hit zones then. If we go for open movement, we sacrifice the hit zones. Instead of this, you're just going to take damage. Like you're going to have just hull integrity. It's just going to be a single value called hull, in which anytime you take damage, your hull is being damaged. That's it. So it's like not necessarily you're getting shot from the front, the side, or the back, or you know any other direction. It's you just have a set health value. Your health value is, you know, the thing is your health value would be 20. You take 20 damage, your hull's punctured. Something, you know, you're going to start taking internal damage. Doesn't matter direction, doesn't matter location, you're losing a lot of that. Yeah, if I do something like that, it would probably, it would be, damage needs to be reassessed. The concept of damage needs to be drastically reassessed. Because if we go with that idea, let's just think about it. Maybe hit zones mean random rolls or something. Well, what I could do is, no, but then, you know, ships are going to be awkward shapes. What I could do, this is an optional thing. You take damage. Let's say you take some damage, and it punctures your hull. You're now officially taking internal damage. Let's say you take 3 additional damage. What occurs now is that you have to mark certain areas aboard your ship that are now taking damage. Why are you like this? Stop being filled with that color, please. Why are you being filled with this color? I don't know why. I don't know why it's doing this either. It's kind of thing. But let's say, for example, I take some damage. I take severe damage. I'm going to have to mark certain locations of my ship that have now taken damage. So it's now, I've taken 3 damage, I'm going to mark XX and then like X, and this might shut down your own systems. So the more bigger systems, the more densely packed you have. Why don't make it random by default? The issue with randomization is, how do you randomize this? How do you randomize it? Let's just use a very basic example. Let's take these 2 ships by one another. How do you randomize both of these consistently? That's where the problem is. There's no way to consistently randomize these if there are awkwardly sized ships, unless I start like deliberately making them to be non-randomized. But then like, how do you manage the bigger ships? Every place on the ship with a die number. No, you dingus, you count the squares. Yeah, but then it's like 1, 2, let's see, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Like, what do? You just roll like a DA and determine, like, you going down the list or something? That's why I'm a little bit like... If we go with this method... that would be awkward as fuck, though. That'd be really awkward. The problem with that is just for the larger ships. It'd be really weird for them. Like, roll a D8 and like, sorry, Mark. Going whatever direction, you gotta roll a D8, I guess. That's weird. God. There would have to be a better method. There would need to be a better method to randomize. Let players rank squares on. That's why. See, that kind of like the thing is, to me, like that kind of just loops back to. You would need to. It would just be player choice at that point. That's why I'm thinking like just player choice. Like it's just like it's your choice where you know what gets broken. What gets broken? And what I could do is kind of make some certain things a little bit more awkward. See, if I want to be a dick about things, what I would have to do is apply a little bit of summon skate logic. Where it's the idea of like, let's say for example, this entire section right here. Let's say this little. By the way, Google Sheets really hates this. Let's say this little section right over here gets damaged. It's, you know, it's damaged. It's pretty much gone. But if you choose to like maybe do something like that, it's gone. But if you're forced to ever do like something like this, it's like, okay, like your entire back half has now been torn off or something. But it's like, how do you randomize that, bro? how about this? Attacker chooses, but the amount of damage they do determine where they hit. What it would be literally is, for example, let's say I have, let's say for example I need to roll on a three or lower. I roll 1 hit. Like, okay, I roll 1 hit. You're an internal damage already. As the defender, you're like, okay, what gets hit? Okay, this section is now damaged, or this section is now damaged. What I say by like some summon skate logic, it's kind of like the idea of like, if there ever is a situation where you're forced to mark a tile that is like this, that kind of cuts off a different section, you lose everything. With the idea being like, yeah, this is a pretty severe hit unless we do something like critical hits. What's the answer? What's the answer? What's the fucking answer? That's not even factoring things like energy weapons, unless we... Oh my god. I really fucking do that. Unless we go with the idea of different damage types hit different locations. You distribute the damage differently. So for example, kinetic weapons can hit more reliably, but you as the player pretty much get to kind of determine where that damage is going in, let's say, a line or something. Like, all of the spaces must be connected. That's kind of the thing. Like, all of these spaces must be connected. However, with laser, the like attacker gets to do it, and he has to, like, you have to do it in a straight line or something. So you can't just like, oh, I've taken 3 damage. So that's a little bit less likely. Actually, no, kinetic you can let's say kinetic is reliable, but you can take a lot of damage right away. So you have to do something like this. Like, you're taking damage pretty consistently. Laser means you have to, like energy weapons in general, means you have to do it in a line or like in a dedicated like area. So it's like, okay, this is like, I've been hit by a laser weapon. I need to put this in a 3 area. So it's like, okay, here, like, oh, I'll do like this. Like, that's your entire back section gone. If we say like, yeah, if these go, like if your back section goes, you're fucked. Missile damage would just be like, okay, attacker chooses a point effectively. Actually, I know what I would say is you choose a point, all surrounding areas get fucking nuked. Because missiles are fucking dangerous, and I want them to feel very dangerous. So it's like, okay, I've taken, like, early missile, I've taken damage there, but if you're, like, already kind of taking damage everywhere, for example, like this, where do you choose to put the missile? Like, do you put it there? Or, like, if you put it there, you might take, like, extra damage or something? I don't fucking know. Because one of the ideas is that, like, and I wrote this in already, it's that your engine is your reactor. It doubles. Okay. And I would probably say, if all your back tiles get destroyed, or you're forced to destroy them, your engine's out. So you don't really want to do that, but certain weapons, if you hit well, we can probably do, like, maybe give something in combat the idea of, like, aimed attacks or something like that, where you get to distribute the damage. Where it's like, okay, you know, if I've, like, clearly hit, like, a critical hit or something, I get to distribute 1 point of damage. Where a critical hit on a laser weapon is something like, oh, I'm going to distribute this like this. You know, like, I get to distribute where the first location is, so my first location is right here, so now you have to kind of work around that, like, okay, now I'm inconvenienced you. Or, let's say, for example, see, on this ship, for example, if I take, like, a laser, I'm like, okay, I've hit the laser, I have to choose right here, and then you kind of have to snake around. That's going to be a little bit awkward, but it should work. Not gonna say it will. You know, that's like at this point, that is just like this entire game. This should work. I don't fucking know if it will or not. Okay. Alright. Let's think about that. Let's break it down. Let's break down what we don't... Again, we're losing the nuance of this. We don't need to worry about that. All we need to know is where our front and where our, kind of where our back is, for example. Actually, we can even probably put, like, for engine integrity, we can probably put down the idea of... And it's just like, when we take damage, we're taking hull damage. Like, we're taking hull integrity. Hull integrity, bad. When our hull integrity is 0, we start taking internal damage. That's when we start marking... That's when we start marking things off, and once we take too much damage, once either our entire ship is full, or we're just crippled, that's when bad things start happening. Where it's like, if we could get crippled, it's kind of like, yeah, congratulations, like, my entire ship is just fucked right now, like, I'm unable to do anything. What we may need to do is, like, literally assign, like... I don't really want to... I want to keep this as, like... I want to keep soft systems their own thing, but I want to keep modules their own. If I really want to, what I can do for, like, possibly... is the idea, like... Like, let's say, for example, we have a module that looks like this. Like, oh no, my module is in danger. If you're ever forced to fully destroy a module, you're going to take, like, extra damage or something. Like, at that point, like, the one issue with this thing is bigger ships are suddenly going to be a lot tankier. Like, insanely so. But then you just hit them with missiles. And then you cripple them that way. If there's ever a moment where a ship gets ripped in half, it's disabled. So, for this particular ship, you actually are very fragile. For example, so if this one is actually incredibly fragile, for the simple fact that taking any damage here or here means your ship breaks apart. Like, the entire back half goes, because you've taken severe internal damage. So any damage you do needs to be kind of prefaced by that. Like, any section that gets cut off, for example, needs to pretty much get immediately torn away, and it's like, yeah, that part of the ship is gone. So, even in ships like this, little wide ships kind of have that as a disadvantage. So you end up doing things like this in exchange for that, but that seems kind of awkward. But it might work. So even, like, taking a few pieces of internal damage could, like, if you do that, there's a few pieces of internal damage, suddenly the ship starts breaking apart entirely, and you just have, like, this back half now. So you just have this. This would just be like what happens if a ship just completely fucking fractures. So the secret, the huge success would be, don't get hit in smaller ships. Bigger ships can afford that, because let's say, for example, we have a bigger ship, for example. Let's say we have a decent sized ship. Let's say this is our ship, for example. So if I take a few points of damage, suddenly I'm not too fussed. Okay, now you decide you don't want to be green? Why? So yeah, again, I'm not too fussed now, because yeah, I'm taking internal damage, but nothing is being vented as of right now. I am in relative safety. However, if it ever comes a point where, like, this occurs, then suddenly I've lost an entire section of my ship. And that could mean lost cargo, that could mean lost people. That's generally a bad thing. You don't want sections of your ship being vented, obviously. Because if sections of your ship gets vented, that means people are dying. So bigger ships have survivability, but the problem is they're going to get tore apart quicker. So even taking a few pieces of damage suddenly makes it very deadly, even for larger ships, because they're going to get tore apart. And that's what you want to do. You tear apart the idea being more about, for larger ships, hitting them in certain areas, not necessarily to damage them per se, not necessarily intent on, crippling them or not necessarily in destroying them even, but just, we've done enough damage to you now, and you've made the executive decision to do this. Now your entire back half has been torn off, and this is maybe very bad for you, or hey, you've sacrificed something to get away, in which we can use and salvage and rip apart. When we do really bad critical damage to something, that means, let's say, like ships that are below a certain intent, like in situations such as this, for example, like more than half the ship is gone. That means, like, yeah, this part of the ship is gone. Like, there's no, like, yeah, it's gone, it's dead. Like, the ship is dead. Okay. So we don't have to worry about this necessarily. And then that kind of plays into EMP damage, and then we can play around with that a little bit more. Alright. Open damage, then. That's really accursed. Why am I doing this? Then for hard points, we don't need to worry about hard points, really. Because hard points can... how do I want to work? We don't need as many hard points per ship, because the idea is that they're more... Everything can always shoot at everything, the issue being that you just don't have enough of anything. Having a small set of hard points means you have a few guns strapped to it, and it's more about doing larger points of damage. I'm going to put it to the crowd here real fast. This sound like a good idea. Would you play this game? That's the question. Would you play this? Because pretty much, again, you're losing a lot of the, I'd say, tactical nature of it. It's not like, well, I'm putting myself here to do a broadside or whatever. And more along the lines of managing risk-reward. Where it's, I've taken a certain amount of hull damage. I need to pull out. I need to leave. If I don't leave, it's gonna cost me more. Like, I'm gonna lose things, so I need to pull out. But when you're attacking people, they're thinking the same thing. They're like, we need to escape, we need to leave, we need to get away. So that damage is a lot more hectic, you could say. It's more about dealing damage to them just as much as they're dealing damage to you, but does that sound entertaining? Does that sound entertaining, though? What do you mean by the latter? Managing risk reward. Yeah, because like one of the things is you're going to have to pay for everything. That's going to be the biggest thing. Is every point of hull damage is not necessarily hull damage. It's a paycheck. And every single point of damage you take is just another point of damage that you're going to have to pay to get repaired. And it's like, is this score worth it anymore? Or are we going to take too much damage? Is this worth it? We got to keep going. And I want that to be a sensation that occurs. Because that's a good idea. I want that to be a sensation. which is, do we pull out because we've taken too much damage, and if we continue, we'll win, but we may be in kind of dire straits? Because it's like one of those things, like, I think I expect people to be like, oh, well, I'm just going to damage my cargo a lot, my cargo spaces, because those don't have my modules in them. But I think one of the things there, to me anyway, would be, that's where your cargo is located, and if you have anything in there, like, your cargo is going to get fucking vented in open space. So it's like, okay, like, you're losing cargo. Okay. So it's more about risk reward. All right. Okay. We don't really need to worry about this anymore. However, for this, what we just do is hull integrity. Hull integrity. And then we can shrink everything down to something like this. But we don't need to worry about internal integrity either anymore, because that's not what we need to think about. That's not really a point anymore. So it's something more like this. So hard points would just be 2 small hard points, which is the idea that you can only strap 2 small guns to this Corvette, but you're going stupid fucking fast, which is the idea of 8 inches doesn't seem very fast now, does it? I can work on that. And then we have our ECM value, which is getting hit by ECM weapons that are going to fuck your day up. They're like, yeah, the field shin can only take 15 damage, but it's also going to be one of the absolute fucking fastest things in the entire game, in which it can just zoom around and then unload and zoom out. That's what it wants to do. Okay, we gaming, everybody. We, as they say in the hood, are gaming. Okay, so if we take this as our sample, so we have 2 small hard points. We don't actually need that much space for hard points anymore. We can probably do something like this, and you can be a lot smaller now. Actually, you don't even need to be here anymore, because you're going to be a very simple thing. You're just going to be like this. This is a field shin, for example. And what the field shin's going to do is that it's going to have its little modules. It's going to be like, okay, I have a little 3D module here. Like, if you want to do a smuggler field shin, like your ship is built to be a smuggler, your thing might look like this. When you take 2 damage, internal damage, congratulations, you've lost an entire fucking section of your ship, potentially. Like, it is crippling to get hit by this thing. But that's the point. You're a tiny little fucking Corvette. Yeah, well, worth mentioning, pirate ships were historically small and very fast. Yeah, because like the one thing that I want to kind of get the idea of is you have the firepower and you have the speed. You do not have the survivability. That's why you want to hit things that are weak, or you want to get the advantage off. And that's kind of one of those, like, I want that to feel like an important thing, that these guys all have things they want to do, and losing a freighter is not that big of a deal compared to getting all the other freighters away. If they can't leave, they'll turn and fight. But like a single destroyer isn't that big of a deal when it's when it's like 2 frigates and 3 destroyers versus your tiny little thing. Then we have running in, then that's a little problem. Okay, all right. So if we keep our consistent thing here, we're committing space crime, everybody. We need to do our frigates. So if we do 8 to 10 squares, that means effectively we can think about this as 8 to 10 health. 10 to 14 internal health. Let's bump that up. Let's do this. 16 to 20. So if we do 16 and then we increase 16 to 22, we increase it by, if we increase it by 4 each time with a 2 gap, and then we have the light cruiser. I want the light cruiser to be kind of the first jump. This is the kind of the cutoff point between like pirate ships and other people's ships. The light cruiser is like a capital ship to you guys, and like if affording one of these does put you at a weird advantage, the issue being that it's also not a super advantage. Actually, no, we tone this down a little. We do something like this, maybe. Then we have the heavy cruisers. Then we have the heavy cruisers, in which we then do something along the lines of like 27 to 32. Then we have the battle cruisers. No, that's too small even. We do something like... Capitals are going to be 65 plus. A capital ship should feel like a horrifying abomination of God, and you should be shitting your fucking pants the second one of those bastards show up. Like, let's think of what a capital ship would look like. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's do so 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. So let's build a capital ship, everybody. So here's 40 tiles already. We need 20 more tiles. Let's see. So this is 6, 12. So this is 50. This would be, let me see, 40, 52, 64. So this would be, actually, wait, 1, 2, 7, 8, 6. No, wait, this is 16. Notepad can't math very well. Apologies. Why can't I move you? So if we do something like this for it. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. This is 40 tiles. 46, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62. Doing my math right. Hopefully I am. We need to establish this. We need to establish the top. We establish. These aren't final, by the way, in case you haven't realized. Like, I understand how to do the ships, it's just doing them. Yuck! Let's see, we want to do this and this. That means we want to do bottom. I think I got him. So this is what would be effectively a capital class ship. For size comparison, that's still very small. Texas, can I... I don't remember how to actually view them. Like, it gets a little bit complicated because I'm like trying to view all the hexes at once. And fun fact, this is not what it's supposed to be doing at all. No, that's not column stats. I need to... Yeah, it does not appreciate, and I do quote this nicely, appreciate my bullshit. Nope. Data validation. What am I trying to look for here? I want to find... I just want to find the number of cells I have. I'm like 95% sure all of them. Yeah. 3, so that would be 30. Actually, what am I doing? No, why would it be 30? No, 15. 15, 30, 38. So we've got 38 so far. You haven't realized yet, I'm a little bit frazzled now, so I'm trying to do all my math here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 24. So yeah, that would be just the right number. Seems a little bit small, but I mean, I guess it would work. We go under that, it's 65. It actually would be 65 plus. So I mean, we could probably throw in this because it'd be funny to have like a weird thing right in the middle. There we go. So this would be a capital class ship. It would have an absurd number of guns, and but let's again, you take, let's say, 3 internal damage. This is 3 internal damage. 3 internal damage for these guys is this. Like, they're in, like, an entire section has been destroyed. Unless we increase the size by just, like, a raw amount, like, by 10 spaces. Like, just make these, like, a 75 tile monstrosity. I'm not having schizo delusions. I'm just very tired right now, so yeah, that seems capital ship-esque. I think, compared to this little dinky bastard. It doesn't help that these are also little yeah, I guess compared to this little dinky bastard, it's like twice the fucking size, but would you rather your search history or calculator history? Calculate. See, the thing is, like, sometimes, like, I just get frazzled, so I just type in numbers when I'm, like, trying to do mental math. Like, here's the one weird thing. I'm actually not very good at math. Math has always been, like, my subject that I'm terrible at. Like, just doing raw maths. Always, like, this is just, I don't try to hide this sometimes. Like, I'm bad at math. I'm very, however, the thing is, I'm good at theory math. I can kind of see ranges, I can kind of think of, like, what's the likelihood here. It's like, when I can apply it to something, I'm good with it, but when it comes to just, like, raw counting and number crunching, I'm not actually very good at it. Like, that's always fucked me up, and my math teachers all throughout high school could attest to that. Because I was in stupid math. Like, that's the thing. I was in stupid math all the way through high school. Why does this capital seem so small? It seems so tiny. But I guess I could add in, like, a capital ship is literally just anything larger than 75 tiles at this point. So, I mean, I guess it works. Like, if we're assuming that this is about 65, 70 tiles. And if you ever want to expand out, it's pretty easy. You just, like, start assigning more shit. Like, if you really want, like, an atrociously, like, massive capital ship, you could really add on to this pretty easily. Honestly, if you do, I mean, if you add in something like this, like, yeah, this capital ship is, like, doubled in size. Yeah, okay, this works pretty well. All right. Let's bulk it up, yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking about 75 tiles is pretty good, because that's almost like, if you assume that a Corvette is actually, if we do that, bump heavy cruisers up, because a Corvette being half the size of a light cruiser in max sort of works. Make it 80 to 100. Because what I was thinking about doing is we'll do 90 plus, then increase everything here. Actually, increase all the battleship sizes to like 40 to 60. And then 60, then we'll do like 60 to like 80. And then everything above 90 is just that. So like a capital ship could be 10 times the size of a Corvette. Like, just because of like how fucking horrifying these things would be. So if I want to make, let's say heavy cruiser, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Like, a heavy cruiser, this might be like, this is the size roughly of what a heavy cruiser may look like. Let's see, actually 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So like they might do something like 3 times, let's do 15, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 15, 3 times 6 is 18, so that would be 32. I'm doing it wrong. No, it would be 30. 33. So that'd be 33, and then we add in 36, 39, 40. So if we do something like this, this is what like a standard battle cruiser might look like. And just a heavy cruiser, not even a battle cruiser. Battle cruisers would be almost double the size. It would be much larger than this. So yeah, okay. So this would be about, if we're looking at this would be battle cruisers. This would be a pretty standard battle cruiser, not necessarily. This would be a heavy cruiser. If I'm doing my math right, this would be a, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 would make you a destroyer. This would be a frigate. Actually, no, not even a frigate. This would be a corvette. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You're 12, so you would be a frigate size. And now I need to design a light cruiser, in which we will make this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see, we need 20 tiles, so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so let's do 1, 2, 3. That's 3 by 6, so that's 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. 28. No, I need to shave off 3. There's our behold our beautiful disaster area. So actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. $25 is right. This is the largest possible light cruiser we can afford. There we go. So this is a light cruiser, corvette, destroyer, frigate, heavy cruiser, battle cruiser, and then if we do the full math, so it'd be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. God, this is 5, and then we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. No, it didn't. This is wrong. This is 5. I can count. So this is 10. 10 by 5, that's 50. 100. We do... if we do this correctly. And behold our behold our capital ship, everybody, otherwise known as the block. Don't worry, do not fear the block. More tiles in the like. Yeah, I want this to be a little bit bigger scale than something like FTL, where it, like, you can't, like, the smallest ships of, like, corvettes are, like, your full crew in, like, FTL. Like, you can get, like, 10 people, like, you can get a few dozen people in ships like these. Like, these aren't, like, man-sized rooms, if that makes, like, man-sized tiles, if that makes sense. Like, you can even see, like, this is going to have a crew complement of, like, a couple hundred people. Like, you need 100 people to man this particular ship. Doesn't seem that big, but it's like, yeah, it's pretty big. But yeah, no, it'd be like, yeah, we can probably clean this up to make it a bit prettier, but yeah, okay. I'm thinking the sizes work pretty well. Not perfect, but they'll work. I would say, like, we can probably get a little bit of, like, wiggle room here. I would say, like, wiggle room is going to be important here, but I think that should work. All right. So, our basic Corvette, the Field Chin Corvette, is going to have a hull integrity of this. We have our basic, hull designation, how this works. Probably going to have to go through... Here, what I'm gonna do is actually most everything gonna probably go through here after stream and just double check everything. But what we can do, let's design another Corvette. Okay, so this is the Fielshin, and we have a range of 8 to 10. Let's build a little shitty Corvette. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Here's our shitty little Corvette. He's adorable. Truly, this will be the ship to save us all. Yeah, it's the brave little Corvette that could. So this would be like a standard little Corvette. Like here we go. Here he is. He's not good. He's not reliable. But he's going to get the job done. So if we input the Corvette here, kind of see that. I'll probably scale these down to about like this. Actually, I'll keep it with text so it doesn't freak out. Hull integrity, what would be a good thing? We'll make a 10x1 line. The real hero. Let's see. So the Fielshin, we need to make the Fielshin. See, the thing is, like, the Fielshin super simple to make. Just be like, haha, I've made it. I've made the Fielshin. Yeah, we'll tone you down a little bit. There we go. Oh, didn't mean to do that. I specifically told myself not to do that, but I did it anyway because I'm a silly boy. So if we do this, we can actually shrink the Fielshin down a little bit. So let's see who's here. Okay, congratulations. We'll make the there we go. Corvette hull integrity. Let's keep Corvette hull integrity at about, I'm gonna say keep it between like 12 and 20. Like keep it like, actually no, we'll keep it at about 15 being our average, but we can probably make the Corvette the Drew Salt just a little bit heavier. It only got 100 cargo. This is just a standard little Corvette. He's a little baby boy. He's only got, let's say he's gonna have 3 small weapons. He's gonna go a little bit slower. Gonna have about the same amount there. He's gonna have a little bit worse sensor rating, and he needs a few more crew. But he's a little bit more tough. That's the idea. And you can put in, the big thing here is you can put in corner pieces now. Wowzers, everybody! The innovative world of putting in a corner piece. But yeah, okay, so the best of the thing I think about the Fielshin Corvette is that, like, the Fielshin is a giant brick floating at you. That's what it is, a brick floating at you with malicious intent. The Drusalt is just like this little, it's a fucking Galaga ship. That's literally all it is. It's a tiny little Galaga ship. Let's do another one, 8 to 10. We will make this 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. We make it big, or we actually, what we can do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Say hello to the big one. Oh, mind you, this is very annoying to do. So don't worry. I love adjusting hexes. I love it. It's so much fun. Didn't I just recreate the... Yeah, this is just Fielshin with wings. No, I need to make this more cursed. Oh, I know what I can do. Because I am an innovative genius. Have no fear. I need to go here, size and rotation. Okay, maybe not. We're trying. Let's see, how can we innovate? Can we innovate further? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 910. We're innovating, everybody. Have no fear. You may not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like. Oh, why don't I just do that? Why do I ruin everything I touch? We do this, and that means... I guess this is just going to be called the Flying V. Yeah, Corvettes are pretty much just Galaga ships. I ain't lying. These things are pretty much just Galaga ships. Actually, we toned down... Let's tone down the hull integrity of you. You're going to have the high hull integrity. You're going to have 100 standard cargo space. Hard points, you're only going to have 2 hard points. Your engine power is going to be a little bit faster. You're going to have better and actually, no, you're going to be standard. That your crew is going to be... We're going to say your crew is going to be 15, 14. There we go. There we go. What do we call the Flying V over here? We need something creative. The Lord compels thee. Okay, actually, I know what we can call it. We'll call it the Draco Mark 1. Actually, we'll call it the Draco Mark 2. There we go. There we go. Here's the Flying V. Yep. So here's 3 standard Corvettes. Corvettes are pretty simple to make. You just don't get a lot of room to make things with them. However, luckily enough, you can also just do shit like this. Like, this is pretty easy to... Like, it's easy to manipulate them a little bit. This also means, like, when I say, like, I'm going to, like, outsource it to people, this is what's going to happen. Of caps on rip. Yeah, like, I'm literally going to I'm going to give people some, like, very basic concepts and be like, yeah, go nuts. Like, do whatever you really feel like, and I will... we'll make 1 more Corvette. We'll make this a really fragile little Corvette. He's only going to have 1 gun, but his engine's going to be super strong. His sensor rating is going to be a little bit low, but he's going to pretty much be a blockade runner. That's his entire gimmick, is that he's a big old blockade runner. Actually, we're going to even lower his crew capacity all the way to 3. This needs to be the smallest ship physically possible for him. So we need to make 8, so we need to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do we make what's the ideal blockade runner ship? Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, we need to make this cool looking. Don't worry, I'm going for that Roblox look. Let's see, okay, no, well, this is gonna be, this will probably be the last one of the night. Just because, I need to go over to Lancer for tomorrow. But, which one are we? Symmetrical docking! Yeah, so, do we like the top one a little bit more? Or do we like the Flying E? Oh yes, tomorrow we're going to do the micro case on Lancer Battle Fleet. It was actually just very convenient, all of these kind of came together. The E I'm seeing. The flying E will be our blockade runner. Let's see if I can do this right. Actually, or alternatively, I could just play it safe. And I just hit the no borders, and then we do down, down. And then we hit no borders, just... See, the one thing I miss from Excel proper is that you could really manipulate hexes very easily in Excel. They're a little bit harder to do in Google Sheets. There we go. The flying E. Luckily, I'm not going to be absolutely cursed and just like be like, oh, sorry, you can't rotate. So actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. He's a little bit lower. He's about as strong as the Fieldshin. He only's got 1 gun on him, but he's very fast and he's a very small crew complement. Okay, what do we call it? I know what we can call it. We'll give it we'll call it this. You're here, therefore, hello, phone. You want to yell at me? Or he's sick. Now, if I want to be really... Yeah, our tiny little Corvettes that we can now buy. So yeah, this should work relatively well. Everybody, there we go. So these should work pretty well, and probably... Yeah, there we go. This is the Orisec. So yeah, pretty much what's going to occur is next week, because I spent a little bit too long. I spent 2 hours effectively agonizing over how I wanted to do this, but we've made our call. We've made our bed, you could say. And we are going to probably next Monday, I'm going to sit down and we're just going to make ships. That's all we're going to do. There's going to be nothing else going on. It's going to be me, you, and we're going to make ships together. And it's just going to be me in fucking this, tweaking little ships all over, trying to make sure everything will work, you know, make sure all the little noties work. Oh my goodness, look at you, they're so adorable. And then probably next Wednesday, I might just make some ships on just kind of get things going, because... Yeah, I even say this is the hump. After that, ship combat should be relatively simple. It's mostly after this, it's gonna... Actually, I have to put weapons in here. Weapons, fuck. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to put in some, like, basic weapons. I'm gonna put in some basic things there. Ship combat's gonna be a little bit awkward. I have the idea of how I want to handle ship combat now. Simply just because it's going to be open and you're going to be able to move around a lot more freely. That's an advantage. A complicated advantage, but an advantage. Then the man in the fleet, the idea behind that is more of like some of the deeper things going on. Sector of creation, home base. Yeah, this is probably going to be a bit of a longer one. Probably I'm going to say about 7. But tomorrow we have the Lancer here, the Lancer micro case. That's the big one. On the weird war game thing, because it's... There's some things with that game I've already kind of realized it's a little bit weird, and going over it has its own value to kind of talk about other things. But, so that's kind of what's on the menu for tomorrow. I also get to announce the results of the voting tomorrow. So we get to see what's going to be on the next list. And from there, we can kind of improvise on what's going on next. We're making pretty good progress, everybody. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for watching me agonize through how to make ships work. So yeah, thank you. Godspeed and good luck. I will be here as always. If you ever need me, don't hesitate to shoot me a PM or at me on my server. Oh, thank you, TG Sid 13. For 100 bits, This is the first time you've chatted, but thank you very much. Ta-da! I'm not special. I don't have any of the special things set up to be like, give like a little cheer emote that goes like, yeah, let's do it and have a little song and dance routine. Don't have one of those yet. I need to yell at my friend to make them all fancy and nice, but thank you. But yeah, tomorrow will be the Lancer micro case. Probably going to be about noon EST as usual. Don't know how long it's really going to be because apparently it's literally just fucking Lancer, but a standalone expansion for Lancer, which is weird. I don't know how they're going to do it. From there, next week is going to be more Void Hunters. Probably Tuesday and Thursday are going to be actually dedicated to me working on Metal Saviors. Yeah, I'm going back to Metal Saviors on stream. I know, wacky. I actually did all the VODs for that particular game on YouTube, but ever since I got associate, I don't even know what the fuck they call it. Ever since I got the you're barely above a human being here on Twitch, I have an exclusivity thing with them. So time to be exclusive to Mr. Bezos. Hey, Mr. Bezos. Yes, it's going to be next week because this Sunday we're doing the end of our first major arc in my campaign using Metal Saviors, which has been going really well. Don't tell my players, but I'm going to be sending them through hell, and I find that very funny. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to have people go through hell. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. Mostly because I get to fuck with every single one of my players on what they want to do versus what they have to do. It's great. I love it. Mwah. PS2's. Am I streaming a session? No. I've said pretty much that I'm probably never gonna stream a session because with my friends anyway, because I do not refer to them as like I have a bad I refer to them as, hey man, how you do? I refer to them as their name. They refer to me as my name. And I've known these guys for, God, a decade now. But like, breaking it out of that was just like, oh hey, Notepad Anon. Notepad, it'd be a little bit weird. Can you do a Sword World Curious case in the near future? There's apparently a PDF floating around, TG said. I will have to find... I'm back. How's it going? I'm going to be ending stream here in a minute, Manly. However, I will hop into Autism and Assholes, actually. Sword World Curious case. I would like to do a Sword World Curious case. I don't know if you're in my server at all, TG, but if you can give me the PDF for it. I know there's the wiki for it, and the wiki's kind of weird in its own way. So I've been kind of like, do I want to do that way, or do I want to do it the nicer way? I don't know how I want to do it. I did kind of go over Goblin Slayer already, and Goblin Slayer's like budget Sword World, so sort of. But yeah, no, I will. I'll see about doing that. I don't really have any other JTRPG cases. Really, a lot of the JTRPG stuff has been kind of gone the way. I wouldn't say Dodo, but there isn't really anything coming out for a while anyway, and what is out there is either not fully translated or being put into other things. Ta-da! Alright, so Godspeed, good luck. I'll see you all on the flip side. I will, if you need me, you know where to find me. Godspeed, good luck, you know all the rest. I'm going to disappear.